The Toronto Raptors are making moves as news has come out that Masai Ujiri has signed a fan favorite from the Atlanta Hawks, Bruno Fernando. So we're going to break down this signing, the specifics of the deal, as Bruno Fernando will be coming in on a very interesting contract structure, what it means for other targets that have been linked to the Toronto Raptors in recent weeks, including Christian Koko, as well as Jamison Battle, who was signed after a very stellar Summer League performance. So lots of stuff for us to dive into, because frankly, I'm pretty excited about this guy in terms of what Atlanta Hawks fans have been saying about his performance and what he's able to provide for this Toronto Raptors team. But before we dive into any of that, folks, we have an exciting announcement. This video is brought to you by NordVPN. With acquisitions of Davion Mitchell and Jamal Shed, we know how serious the Raptors have taken improving their defense this offseason. And as a fan of the team, you should do the same with your online data with this video sponsor, NordVPN. NordVPN is a virtual private network, which is a tool for your phone or computer that ensures privacy and security of your data. Its security is unparalleled with its Threat Protection Pro features. It blocks malware from being downloaded, it ensures your data isn't leaked onto the dark web, and it keeps you from pulling up any fake or malicious sites. As many of you know, I used to work as a software engineer for a financial tech company, and our cybersecurity guy recommended to me NordVPN to use to keep all of our company's data as well as my personal data safe when going on to different websites, so I've been using it ever since. They also block those annoying pop-up ads you see when scrolling the web, and they allow you to change your virtual location so you don't miss any of your favorite local content when you're traveling abroad. Sign up to NordVPN using the link in the description or the pinned comment of this video, and you get an extra 4 months free on your initial plan. And it's a zero risk sign up as they have a money back guarantee. So shout out to NordVPN for supporting the channel and supporting you guys in keeping your data and privacy secure and safe while using the internet. All right, let's dive into the report because we have some exciting stuff to dive into. But firstly, let's see what Blake Murphy had to say. The Toronto Raptors are signing Bruno Fernando per a source. It's a non-guaranteed deal, basically a come into camp and compete for a roster spot. Some guarantees would kick in if he makes the team and not an Exhibit 10 contract. He's not two-way eligible, so there's no Raptors 905 implications. So this is an interesting sort of piece and pickup for this Toronto Raptors squad because frankly, Bruno Fernando is a guy that's been around the NBA, he's played multiple seasons for a bunch of different teams, and is established himself as a steady NBA veteran that interested teams would want to bring into the roster. Looking at his stats, again, nothing that sort of jumps off the screen as something that's insane, but Bruno Fernando is a guy that averaged 6 points per game, 4 rebounds, 1 assist for the Atlanta Hawks last season, shot 58% from the field, isn't a three-point shooter by any stretch of the imagination, but is 25, going to be 26 years old. He's 6'9", and he finishes around the rim. He's a solid defender in terms of the advanced stats. Has been able to do some solid stuff for the Atlanta Hawks last season, and is just a guy that was apparently loved by Atlanta Hawks fans. And there was a little thread that came on, and Atlanta Hawks fan chimed in terms of how they felt about Bruno Fernando, so I'll pull that up here now as well. Basically, there was a Hawks fan here, Ice2JC, who said that you guys just got the most well-liked player in the Hawks locker room. Our front office did not want to give him up, and only did so because they had to take on Cody Zeller's guaranteed contract in the DeJounte Murray trade. They delayed his signing and deadline twice so they could try to fix their center logjam and keep him, but he was a very great third center option and can fill in admirably as a second center for stretches throughout the season. Last season, he showed most improvement of his career thus far, so take care of the sweet print. So apparently this is a guy that's an awesome locker room dude, a steady NBA veteran that Atlanta Hawks fans really sort of admired and were happy to have onto the roster. So it's nice to bring in a high character guy, even if it's just for training camp, to have an effect for your specific team. So that's a positive there for Bruno Fernando, and Hoops Hype had some interesting discussion in regards to his performance as well. Essentially, after playing 8 games for the Atlanta Hawks down the stretch of the 2022-23 season, Fernando did not play much at all the first half of 23-24, appearing in just 13 of Atlanta's 49 games to start off the season for an average of 6.5 minutes per contest. However, in the second half of the season, due to a series of frontcourt injuries, he played a much larger role for the squad. Essentially, he averaged 7.6 points per game and 5.2 rebounds while shooting close to 60% from the floor and 70% from the line in terms of the final 32 games, with averaging about 19 minutes of action. So again, the overall stats, pulling them up here again, aren't that overwhelming and positive for Fernando just last season, but the second half of the year was a really sort of where he shined and showed that he can be an actual rotation player out there in the NBA, for a future team. So is he a dude that's going to come out and be a floor spacer at the forward position, gonna, unlock the offense? He's a perfect fit. Probably not regarding Scottie Barnes. We want some floor spacing in terms of our front court for 3-point shooting, and that's why some people were disappointed when Sasha Vezenkov got waived, because in theory, he could be the perfect fit around an RJ Barrett, Scottie Barnes kind of front court, but we do have Kelly Olynyk, and Fernando's a guy that can hustle, play defense, get some boards, and be that sort of energizing big man power forward in for this Toronto Raptors team. And if we don't find the right fit, if other things sort of come into play, then it's an unguaranteed contract, so it's not he's not going to be eating up roster spots, or it's a very low risk move Masai Ujiri made for a really positive influence in the locker room, a guy that can play, is serviceable in the front court for this Raptors team, and it's on an upward trajectory from what we've seen people talk about from his Atlanta Hawks career. But what does this mean for other players? Because obviously a guy like Christian Koko is someone that a lot of Raptors fans have looked at as a potential target for this team, and given the fact that we still are unsure about Christian Koloko's health situation, and I'd imagine we heard, a few weeks ago that he's under the process and getting reviewed. He had surgery on the blood clots in his lungs, so essentially that is getting better and is hopeful to be able to be approved for a return to play at some time soon. We haven't heard an update in regards to Christian Koloko's availability, so this doesn't write off Christian Koko as an option for the Toronto Raptors by any stretch of the imagination. It's an unguaranteed contract. It makes sense to sort of bring in a guy like this, on that unguaranteed money, even if you're still hopeful Christian Koko's coming in, because there's no guarantees that the lung issues and stuff are going to be fully approved and cleared for him to return to action. Again, there's not been a ton of information spread out about that publicly, but you don't know the timeline on that. That's something that's completely out of the hands of the Raptors or Christian Koko or anything like that, even if they do have plans to have him return. So having Bruno Fernando as a guy that can play that big man spot when the Raptors are pretty thin out there in their front line, very, very solid sort of guy to bring into your mix, as a sort of a safety option, even if your number one option, your plans are still focused on bringing in Christian Koko. So, and again, for people that don't know, Christian Koko is a guy, played for the Toronto Raptors. He's 24 years old now at this point. Didn't put the most overwhelming stats, but was a very solid shot blocker for the Toronto Raptors when he was with their tenure. You can see the stats up there on the screen. But the other guy this has a significant impact on is a player in the name of Jamison Battle, who is a guy that played for Toronto Raptors during this year's Summer League and impressed a ton of Toronto Raptors fans. Just 23 years old, played a ton of years in college out there, and it's just a 3-point sniper, and his 3-point shooting significantly improved all throughout his years in college, and culminated in this year's Summer League, where the man shot 60% from behind the 3-point line. 60% on roughly 3 threes a game. We watch this man play. It's a quick release. It's a quick jumper. The defense wasn't at an elite level, or it's not a home run in terms of prospect, but he did sign one of those Exhibit 10 contracts, so he has an opportunity to come in and make that final roster spot, which is now opened up after Sasha Vezenkov has been bought out, dealt away, whatever you want to call it. He's gone to Olympiacos in Greece, so there's one more open roster spot. So now Bruno Fernando is going to be a guy coming in. The Toronto Raptors are pretty open to probably having on the roster. You have a Jamison Battle now, who is a young player that is an elite 3-point sniper. I don't want to call him one-dimensional, but from what we saw in Summer League, is very much, that's his main selling point in terms of being just an absolute knockdown 3-point sniper. He's going to be out there in terms of the mix. And then we have the unknown of Christian Koko being able to sort of come out and assuming he's healthy, Masai Ujiri has the option to potentially bring him back into the mix on this Toronto Raptors team and integrate him into the squad. Obviously, we have other guys, TJ Carton, Brandon Carlson, and as well as Earl Chomche, who are on 2-way contracts. I don't think they'd get converted at the start of the season. They're pretty locked in at those positions there. But that final roster spot, as it's going right now, I believe we have one more position open to invite players in for training camp, but Jamison Battle, as well as my brain is slipping me out. Bruno Fernando are those guys that Masai Ujiri will really have to pick from, assuming no other moves end up going down here now at this point. The rumors continue escalating and stuff, but let me know what you guys think about this signing for the Toronto Raptors. Let us know in the comment section down below. Who do you want to see fill out that final roster spot? You guys, the best thing as far as subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a single thing regarding the Toronto Raptors, as well as Olympic basketball, because Team Canada is out here crushing it right now. But you guys, the best. I'm signing out. Cheers.